Hello and welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be making a few things that may be a problem for us to get in the coming months because the longshoremen are going on strike come October the 1st. And so that means that we're not going to be able to get some of the products that are typically imported into the US. And I want to make sure that I'm making some things that we use on a regular basis and make sure that we have everything that we need. One of those things is going to be apple cider vinegar, but another is going to be some syrup. And I got some pears from a friend of mine and I did not want them to go to waste at all. So I made sure that I'm going to make some apple cider vinegar so we can have that on hand. We always need that for any time that anybody gets ill or any such thing. So I took all the skins and the cores and put them in mason jars that I am now filling with water. And I'm using spring water in order to do this. That's just my preference. You can use whatever water you want. For those who have well water, that will work very well. I love well water. So I went ahead and filled the jars, and now I am just moving the pears around just to be sure that I have a little space in there, because I definitely want to put in some sugar in order to help them to ferment, to actually turn into my pear vinegar. All right, I have made some of this before from apples, and let me tell you, hands down, top notch when you make it yourself. And so I utilized all of my pure cane sugar, which is what I normally use, but I did have this sugar, the brown sugar, on hand, and I just want to make sure that I'm utilizing what I have. I don't want to waste anything. I refuse to waste things. So I'm going to, these are 32-ounce jars. I don't think I said that, but I want to make sure that I fill up those jars, get as much water as I can in there without overfilling that. And then I'm going to put in roughly 3 to 4 heaping tablespoons of sugar in there. And I did these a couple of weeks ago. I'm a little bit behind getting this video out, but I did this a couple of weeks ago, and so vinegar is actually fermenting now, and it's taking shape and doing very, very well right now. And what I do on a regular basis is I go in there and I just take that knife and then just stir around so that I'm making sure they stay below the water, like the skins and the peels and the cores stay below the water. That's going to greatly reduce your chances of having any mold and then, potentially having to throw out your product. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that it is able to ferment in peace. If you need to, use a little baggie of water or something to sit on top of it while you cover it, then do whatever works well for you. I didn't do that. I just go in on a regular basis and I just stir it and make sure that everything is still staying under the water. And so I took some cheesecloth. I cut the cheesecloth up and just into smaller pieces. Instead of using a whole cheesecloth, I just cut it up and using that so that the fermentation process can still take place without it being fully covered. I want this to be able to get some air to it. And so I'm just taking the tops without the lids and then just covering each one of those. So this is the same process that I did the first time that I made apple cider vinegar. And since then, I just continued to do this because that works. All right, so quick side note. I got a package delivery from my friend in California, Juicing with Jay, and he sent me these. One of them he called a Laverne dragon fruit, and then the other he called a no ID because he got the plant from a friend and wasn't sure what the name of it was. But let me tell you, these things, if you let them just get ripe, just let them get ripe a little bit, this will change your life. These were both purple on the inside. I'll try to insert a photo to show you what the inside looked like, but absolutely incredible. And you know I'm going to plant that. I'm going to plant that. I'm going to make sure that I stick that down in some soil, and we are going to have some dragon fruit in the future. So thank you. Big shout out to Juicing with Jay for sending me that dragon fruit. Okay, and so after 24 hours of allowing my pears to sit, I just covered them with the pure cane sugar and the brown sugar and just let them sit overnight covered. I just used the rest of my cheesecloth to cover, and now I am heating this, and I am cooking these pears all the way down because I want this to actually be a syrup. And so the one thing that I did not do in this case was to use pectin, which would have thickened it. So I just had some hot water inside of these jars because I was getting ready to fill the jars with the hot syrup. So let's take a look at these tops here. I had to go to the storage and get my new tops because these are damaged, and if you can see the blemishes there, those are not going to seal. I have no doubt about it that they're not going to seal, and so I definitely don't want to use those. That'll just be for something else, or I may just even throw these out. I'm not even sure just yet, but I wasn't confident in using these, confident that they were going to seal at all, and when they have blemishes on them like that, then they usually don't. And so I have some new ones. I keep these on hand. I keep some of the regular mouth lids on hand, and I also keep the wide mouth lids on hand. So I'm just going to take these and move them out of the way so that we can use the regular mouth lids and get these jars filled. I did not emulsify these at all. It was nice and hot. It was nice and liquidy, and I just want some of those fresh fruit pieces in there when I get ready to pour my syrup. And so I just left them. They are very soft though. They just kind of melt in your mouth because I let them cook for a longer time than I would let my pear preserve cook for. With my preserve, I like to do a little bit I like to have a little snap to it. Not hard, but I like to have a little snap to my pear so that you can definitely tell that it's a preserve. But I went ahead and got these jars filled. I had a couple of larger jars, and I was going to save some of this to have some right on hand, and then the rest of it I just wanted them to go ahead and seal, and that way we can have some left over. We would have the 2 larger jars, and then we would also have a few of the smaller jars as well. And let me just make sure that I include that these larger jars are not 32 ounces. These are 16 ounces each. And then the smaller jelly jars are 8 ounces. So this turned out exactly the way that I wanted it to, and it is absolutely delicious. In order to get that nice brown color on the preserve, if that is important to you, that is really important to me, because then it looks like my mom's preserve when I'm doing preserves. And then this definitely also looks like syrup when you pour it out. It looks just like the store-bought syrup, with the exception that it does not have all of these crazy chemicals and preservatives that they put into things. And so you're easily able to give this to your family just without worrying about having any added thing. And this is like something in moderation anyway. So since it does have so much sugar in it, you can determine how much sugar you want to put in it. But you know, if we are going to go ahead and eat our pancakes or waffles, or even with our biscuits and salmon or whatever we decide that we're going to cook, then we can have something that's good and we're not having to concern ourselves with a whole bunch of chemicals. So what I was doing right there was using my white distilled vinegar to just wipe down the edges of the containers. And these are really, really boiling hot. So therefore I was making sure that I didn't make the mistake of grabbing the glass at all. And that's why I had my towel sitting out as well, so that I could sit it on the counter without having any issue. You're going to tighten the lid so that you can now turn it over. Once you tighten that lid, you can turn it over. Boiling heat is going to seal the jars. That's the way my mom always did it. She'd never water bath at all when it came to making preserves. So I don't water bath with preserves either in most cases. And then I'll just go back after and make sure that when I touch the lid, it is flat, it is sealed. All of these sealed, and we have plenty of syrup now, and we are really enjoying it. I saved some in the large container so that we can have some for the refrigerator, and everybody absolutely loves it. It has a delicious flavor to it, that delicious pear flavor to it. I just love it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.